Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Fran Marinacci. My co-hosts today are Ryan Connaughton and Maxwell Jung. Today we're going to be talking about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum theft. So, this is an interesting, robbery, I guess you could consider it, right?
Yeah.
From what I've heard, I don't know that much about it, so Max read up on it a little bit more than I did, and he's going to fill us in. He's going to answer some questions that I have, and Ryan Connaughton is going to also be a part of this. It actually sounds like a really interesting thing, Max, so can you give us a little bit of background on it?
Yeah, so the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum theft is an unsolved case. There's been no arrests, but there's been the stolen works have been valued to hundreds of millions of dollars, and the FBI and many different law enforcement agencies are looking into this, are still looking into this case. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, it's just so crazy how one person, or maybe a group of people, can break into some museum and get away with hundreds of millions of dollars without being caught.
I mean, that's hard to do, too.
Max, can you give us some background, when this took place?
All right, so what do you want to say, Fran?
I mean, that's hard to do. There's been I've heard of mass robberies of small stores and stuff like that, or just a lot of times gas stations or other small convenience stores get robbed or get their money taken, just by kind of average people, nobody who's read up on it for years. But those guys always get caught, or almost always, and this is just really crazy to me on how.
Yeah, it's happened in basically the middle of Boston. It's
at a museum too.
Yeah.
Museums have a lot of security, I think.
And a lot of valuable items.
And
they got lasers.
Apparently, the
stuff.
museum offers a $10 million reward for information or even the recovery of the art pieces, and that's the largest bounty ever offered by a private institution. So, yeah, you want to get into the story?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do we know the reason?
No.
Did the person just like the art and want it over their fireplace
just money,
or something?
Probably.
How do they sell that? What do you do? Put it on eBay saying
Black market?
Yeah, probably the black market, I would say.
So
now, Max, give us
eBay
some
after dark.
background.
Right, so let's get into the story right now. So it started on the early mornings of March 18th, 1990. There's been 13 works of art stolen in total. So what they said was guards admitted to two men posing as police officers responding to a disturbance call. The thieves bound the guards and looted the museum over the next hour. The case still is unsolved. No arrests have been made and no works have been recovered. The stolen works have been valued at hundreds of millions of dollars by the FBI and art dealers. And as we've said, the museum offers a $10 million reward for any information leading to the art's recovery, which is the largest bounty ever offered by a private institution.
Now I'm going to stop you right there, Max. And it just amazes me how one man could escape.
It wasn't one. It said two.
Two men can escape 33 years without being caught after stealing millions of dollars.
Can we just point out real quick, Ryan, you used a calculator to figure out the difference between 1990 and 2023.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Not the smartest.
But they actually, they tied up the museum guards, right? So it wasn't like they snuck in and did all that cartoon stuff.
Disguising.
It's like something out of a movie.
Yeah, they didn't laser cut them or anything like that. It wasn't like a stealth thing. They kind of just walked in and held up the guards and then took the stuff.
What stands out is that they stole for over an hour. So the police never showed up. The police usually show up in a few minutes, most 30
there wasn't
minutes.
anyone to call the police, right?
They must have never tripped or messed up with the security system. Must have just been
maybe an inside job, right?
Ooh,
it had to be because they were acting like police guards. So
crazy.
That's got to make you wonder though,
Maxwell Jung.
If two guys could do it, that's insane. How many guards? There can't have been that many guards if two guys could tie them up and without essentially making any noise at all.
Yeah.
All right. So some background information on the stolen works. They're procured by an art collector named Isabella Stewart Gardner, like the Barnes Foundation. They're intended for a permanent display at the museum with the rest of her collection.
Sorry, what museum? This is Boston?
Yes.
Yeah, museum in Boston.
Yeah. Among them was the concert, one of only 34 known paintings by Joe Vermeer, and thought to be the most valuable unrecovered painting in the world. Some include The Storms of the Sea of Galilee by Rembrandt, and a lot more. So, all right, let's get into the background. The museum opened to the public in 1903, and Gardner continued to expand the collection, arranged it until she died in 1924. She left the museum with a $3.6 million endowment, and her will stipulated that the arrangement of the artwork should not be altered and that no items were to be sold from or purchased into the collection.
So she didn't make that much. I mean, that's a lot of money, but you said that it was like the pieces stolen that she ended up with were worth a lot more than what she got.
No.
So she only got like just under 4%.
Now, I'm just looked up this painting. This painting is estimated $250 million.
Yeah, I was about to say. Hang on.
Yeah.
So does it say what year she gave the museum the pieces?
The museum opened in 1903, so around then, probably.
But they were stolen in 1990. When was the?
She died in 1924,
Wait, so.
so she's dead when this happened. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically it was her paintings that got stolen. It wasn't like she ended up with them.
No.
No, so
It was her paintings.
Yeah,
that got
no,
stolen.
she
Oh,
collected
okay.
these
Well,
paintings.
yeah, but they were under her name. Like
Yeah.
she didn't make them. Okay, so that makes more sense. So, do we know if maybe like any of the paintings ever had traceable features? Like I know that like when things are stolen, like money, you know how every dollar bill has a number.
Yeah, serial number. Yeah.
Yeah. Do paintings have that, or am I just like dumb?
Probably not. They probably have a serial number just to like know, but like you really don't have anything other than that. All right, so let's continue with the story. So by 1980s, like you said, that wasn't $3.6 million is not a lot for a museum, right?
Yeah.
The museum was running low on funds, and the financial strain left the museum in poor condition. It lacked a climate control system like an AC, an insurance policy, and was in need of basic building maintenance. After the FBI uncovered a plot by Boston criminals to rob the museum in 1982, so 8 years before this, the museum allocated funds to improve security.
So whoever stole the paintings kind of saved them though in a way, cause like, you know how for like vehicles you got to keep them under climate control if you're not
Yeah.
using them for a while.
Yeah.
It's like I'm pretty sure paintings are like
Yeah.
that. Like I think that if it's all like moist in there, then like they'll like. I'm sorry, I just hate the word moist. They'll like rot out.
Dry out.
Yeah.
I know that so they get faded and stuff. So whoever had them either has them or had them in poor condition already, or kind of maybe they kept them the same, because like in the end the museum still in business, or?
Yeah.
Oh wow, so they basically made a comeback. That's
Yeah.
comeback of the century, my guy. Like they went from like 3 million, right, which was not a lot, to like growing it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
They survived, right?
I saw a picture of the empty frame. Does it? I imagine they still have that, right?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I just did some more background research. The concert is actually the most valuable painting that's ever been stolen.
And is there a list of what was stolen? Like how many? Like I know that he said a lot, but like what are we talking
13,
about?
I think. I'm pretty sure.
13.
13, yeah.
And the storm
Jeez.
of Galilee is estimated nowadays around $500 million. I think that's absolutely crazy. I mean, yeah, it's a work of art, but $500 million.
How much is the Mona Lisa worth?
Yeah, maybe if
Probably billions, probably. I don't know.
So it's so compared to like one of the most, I mean, arguably the most famous painting in the world. It's. I mean, I don't know if it's billions. What is it?
Mona Lisa price is approximately $860 million.
So
Okay, so
around a
it's.
billion,
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there though.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for like what could be considered as a small time robbery, because I've never heard of this before. I'm sure
Yeah,
none of you guys
I've never
have.
heard of this.
Yeah.
Like when you compare it to like major news headlines like of robberies, like this seems like nothing, but yet
Yeah.
I mean
a
the
lot
prices
of
on it,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So among these improvements were 60 infrared motion detectors and a closed-circuit television system consisting of 4 cameras placed around the building's perimeter. No cameras have been installed inside the museum, however,
What?
as the Board of Trustees thought it was cost prohibitive, so a big mistake. But additional security guards were hired, so just more guards, but also gives them an opportunity for like inside people, you know?
Do you think that robots would have done this job better? Because obviously, if there was the recording stuff inside, which 1990, I think that was kind of like there wasn't very many high tech options.
Yeah.
Like, but like by robots, I mean like AI, like the motion stuff.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
that have helped in this situation?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, alarms would go
Oh,
off, the
shit,
police
so-
would be called.
Today they're doing facial scans. I mean, that's pretty crazy, and I mean that definitely could have helped recognize the criminals and like from the cops, like
Yeah.
maybe separate them.
Also, have you got? I'm assuming both of you have been to museums, and so have
Yeah.
I, like a bunch of times. But I feel like there's so many times where I accidentally like set an alarm off or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, you guys, that most embarrassing thing in the world.
Yeah. Do you know, like,
That's
you
never
go to a
happened.
Best Buy, right? You go to like one of
Yeah.
the, like, you pull one of these things by accident and it starts ringing, and then you like have to like run away.
I
Like,
think
you're, like, so
the only
embarrassed.
thing more embarrassing than that, or like setting an alarm off or something, is when you're in a grocery store and your parents had to leave you to. They say like you're in line, you know, they had to go and run to
Yeah.
get something, and then it's like your turn up and you don't
Yeah.
know what to do. Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
my childhood, but like the alarms though, like if I set them off, then I feel like anybody can, because I mean, I'm fairly clumsy, but like the only thing is like I'm just sitting there doing my own thing, walking around, then I just hear sirens, you know? It's like there's no way that these people would have been able to do anything about that.
Let's get back to the crime.
Despite these security improvements, the only manner in which guards could summon police to the museum was pressing a button in the security desk. So
That's a terrible way.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I have
is
nothing
that the
against
reason
Boston,
why the
but
cops never showed up?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they might have like
Like a
came
hidden
in
alarm?
and then like like an
That's-
ambush. Yeah.
like I feel there's so many smarter ways. Like a museum that I mean a museum is
I
like
think-
like smart people do stuff like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
people like museums like
Like-
you know, like they're holding Da Vinci or
Yeah.
like all that
It would
stuff.
Yeah.
make sense to like.
You know, you gotta
Spend
have
more money,
something
yeah.
good like that. You gotta have like a better alarm system. I get it. 1990, like that was like there were weird things happening in 1990. A lot of curled hair, a lot of leg warmers, but like you still gotta like, you know, still people were smart. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you can't just have one button that's God knows where in the museum
Yeah. Security
and
desk.
just have the guys need to run there and press it. Like,
Apparently other area museums, they actually had a fail-safe system that required night watchmen to place hourly calls with the police to indicate the conditions were normal. So like, why couldn't they do that? That's
And
probably
didn't
not
you
even
say it took
over an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
so
that
if
would've-
I were the police and I didn't receive a call from this museum, I would have think something was up.
Well, remember these people were undercover. Well, not undercover. Like they were like
Sure, no,
disguised as
they were
as
undercover.
police, and they. I mean, the night the night guards or like the night at the museum. No, the night at the museum guys. Like all of them. I'm sorry, I just can't stop thinking about night. This is like giving off that vibe, you know. One guy,
Yeah.
I just imagine like very few people there. Guy with a flashlight, like you know, these people are dressed up as cops. Who's gonna stop them from just kind of walking in there and being like, "Hey, everything all right?" And then next thing you know, you're tied up.
Even an independent consultant reviewed the museum's security operations in 1988, only 2 years before the robbery happened, and determined that they were on par with most other museums, but recommended improvements. The security director at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston also suggested security updates to the museum. So
hang on, I gotta quickly look up who did that. They hired somebody to.
Yeah, an independent consultant, but pretty sure it is the security director at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston.
Independent consultant is a non-employee who provides services to the general public as opposed to a single. Okay, so basically they had a professional come out and like do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe government hired. I don't know how that stuff works, but like
It says independent, so probably not government, right?
yeah, I mean I don't know.
I don't know, but though you might be
So
right.
basically, what's happening is there's a lot of like faulty, like a lot of like careless mistakes.
Yeah.
Like obviously, museums nowadays are very high tech and advanced. They got a lot of like computer systems. They've got the government going for them. They've got the police on their quick dial, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And you got to have like a ticket or something to walk in. I don't think back then it was like there was many requirements that needed to be had. Like even if like obviously the government doesn't have like a requirement for museums because like they can do whatever they want. They're their own thing. But like I mean like it's the same thing as like closing your garage. Obviously these are weird analogies, but like you close your garage, your stuff doesn't get stolen. You leave it opened, anybody can take it. It's a 50-50 shot, you know. That's kind of what this is. They left the door open.
Yeah. So I agree with that, and also, but the thing was that because of the financial strain, Gardner's directive forbid major renovations, and the Board of Trustees did not approve these security enhancements. The board also denied a request from the security director for higher guard salaries in a bid to attract more qualified applicants.
Well, here, let's go back to that. They denied security enhancements. So they must have been really confident that their stuff wasn't going to get stolen.
No, it wasn't. He said it was financial.
Yeah.
They didn't have the money or the ability to like. Obviously, somebody walks in there looking for a job. They're only gonna give them a job if it's 100% worth it. And obviously, these guys failed because they were probably asking for either a really, really low salary and they weren't qualified or they had no experience, or they were really good and that's the reason why they were there. But obviously, it was probably the latter because it probably wasn't the latter because they weren't very good at their job. They messed up. They couldn't untie them, or they could have untied themselves. They could have there should have been more people there. There should have been.
So you're saying there should have been more security guards?
Oh, I guarantee you could sneak into a or you could go into a museum any night you want, and there'll be 100 people on you. Like they'll have people in other states probably watching you through a computer.
Yeah.
Like that's like it's like the FBI at this point.
It's not like you're sneaking into a gym with your friend. Like,
oh no, nothing like that. It's you can't do anything on Earth right now without being known. Like there's a saying, there's a saying that somebody used. And that was. I think it was a government official. It said you can't cough in Afghanistan and not be known here. Like in other countries, like we keep tabs on everything, everyone, everything. Like here, it's the same way. When you're in America, like that's an even bigger. You have an even bigger eye on you. Like you're constantly being watched. Everybody knows what's going on.
Let's get back to the crime now. Apparently, this heist took place on St. Patrick's Day, and I think in Boston, mostly Irish city, I think that's gonna be a day of like, wow, like this happened on
A lot of
St.
chaos,
Patrick's Day.
too.
Yeah, well, that also means there's a lot of police in parades or like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
parties
took
and stuff,
advantage
yeah.
of like everybody being in one area,
Now that's
the understaff.
A
and
good part
everything.
a good idea on the robbers' part, because
They planned everything out. It was like
Yeah.
pretty meticulous, you know.
And it doesn't take a genius to figure out that when everybody's doing something else, like nobody's gonna be like everybody's parading, drinking, doing their own thing in the bar, eating, having good food, singing, dancing, and whatnot. It's nobody's gonna pay attention to two guys at a museum, you know.
Dressed as police officers too.
dressed
so,
as
like,
police officers.
Yeah.
And also, it's gotta make you wonder. It's a slow day already for those guards, so obviously they weren't probably on their toes. They weren't probably looking out for people. Was the museum open?
All right, so you want to go into
Was
the
the museum
robbery?
open during the?
When
they
no,
got
I do
stolen?
not think so.
So like,
Actually, yeah, no. It
yeah,
was in
because like
midnight. It was-
obviously like they're gonna be tired and stuff. They're not gonna be paying attention because they're probably doing their own thing for St. Patrick's Day. If they were Irish, even if
Yeah.
they weren't, maybe. Like Connie, like I guarantee you, if you and I were security guards on St. Patty's Day, you would
Yeah.
have us all doing Irish stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
we'd be
we-
eating soda bread and all that stuff.
Yeah. All right. So enough of that background information. You want to go into the robbery?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the robbery occurred in the early hours of Sunday, March 18th, 1990. The thieves were witnessed around 12:30 by St. Patrick's Day revelers leaving a party near the museum. So the two were disguised as police officers and parked in a hatchback on Palace Road, around like 100 feet from the side entrance. So witnesses believe they were policemen. So the guards on duty that night were Rick Abbott, age 23, and Randy Heston, age 25. So Abbott was a regular night watchman, but March 18th was Heston's first time on a night shift.
That's crazy. I mean, they were young guys. I mean, 23 and 25. I mean, that's kind of like, you have to be on the watch for that. Like, you're kind of, like, in your age, you're there. Like, you have to be ready for all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, they were pretty young, and, I mean, it must be traumatizing for them.
Yeah. Well, so the museum security required that at least one guard would patrol the galleries with a flashlight and a walkie-talkie. That's it.
Wow.
While the other would sit at the security desk. When Abbott took the first patrol, fire alarms sounded in several rooms, but he could not locate any fire or smoke. He returned to the security panel where the fire alarm control indicated smoke in multiple rooms. He assumed that this was some kind of malfunction, and disabled the panel before returning. Before completing his rounds, Abbott stopped at the side entrance of the museum, briefly opening the side doors and shutting it again without informing Heston. Abbott returned to the security desk around 1, and Heston assumed patrol duty.
So they had like a diversion type
Yeah.
thing. Like they set off the smoke alarms, said they'd have a little bit of time when
Yeah.
Maybe.
And Max, did you say only one guard was out, like, doing a patrol?
Yeah, and the other one would be at the security desk.
So, yeah, I mean, one guard's out. I mean, if that smoke alarm goes off, he's, I mean, required to go check that. And that leaves a whole a couple quadrants of the museum just alone.
That's a big boy word.
what's
there,
a
Ryan.
quadrant?
It's a
Quadrant.
big boy word. You want to describe
Yeah,
what a
yeah,
quadrant?
can you
quadrant is?
explain
So,
what
on
a
a
quadrant
coordinate
is
plane-
without using Google, please?
On a coordinate plane, there are 4 quadrants.
And they go clockwise, if I'm correct, right?
No, they go counterclockwise.
From top to bottom or bottom to top?
It goes top right's quadrant 1.
So basically, to viewers, it's a quadrant he's talking about is like a section of the museum. So
Yes.
each guard has a quadrant they gotta go and like guard or patrol. So essentially, like, there's different zones of a museum, or obviously different floors. So like maybe all the alarms went off in like the back of the museum, so all the guards in the front of it would go back.
Yeah.
And then they could go in through the front, like something like that.
Yeah. So, but I also think that it might be like something, if they set off the alarms again, they might think it's like a mistake, or
Yeah.
you know.
Could be a false alarm.
Yeah. So, because this already happened one time in one day, so who says, that might not happen again. So around 1:20, the thieves drove to the side entrance and parked and walked to the side door. They rang the buzzer, which connected them to Abbott through an intercom. They explained to Abbott that they were police investigating a disturbance and that they must be admitted. So Abbott could see them on the closed circuit television wearing what appeared to be police uniforms.
Is closed circuit television the same thing as like camera,
like a monitor, like
Yeah.
like a CCTV?
Yeah, like, do you know those things that they have like over in the entrance?
Oh yeah,
there's,
like how you can see through all the security cameras.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what did they do? Like, oh, I saw this thing. Guys now are like, you can put like in like movies and stuff, they put
Tape or something.
yeah, like sticky notes or something over them.
Yeah.
So that either the people need to go and like take the sticky note off, or like they can't see. So like maybe these guys were like covering them up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Because
possible.
I know that there weren't that many, so maybe like right at the entrance they zapped it with something, or I don't know.
So obviously Abbott was not aware of any disturbance, but he thought that maybe it was a St. Patrick's Day reveler just trying to climb over the fence, and caused someone to report it to the police. So Abbott just let them in out around 1:24.
Mm.
So the thieves first entered a locked foyer.
Foyer?
Yeah, whatever. That's separated the side doors from the museum. They approached Abbott at the security desk and asked if anyone else was in the museum. So Abbott radioed Henston to return back to the
These are very
security
1990s names.
Yeah,
Very 1990 Irish names.
bro.
Because they're in
Red.
they're
your
in
hair's
Boston.
Red as hell. So yeah, so Abbott noticed around this time that the taller man's mustache appeared to be fake. So the shorter man told Abbott that he looked familiar and they may have a warrant for his arrest.
Alright, not talking about movies, a fake mustache. That's straight out of a cartoon.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, unless these guys are really well known throughout the very big city of Boston. Like, I've been to Boston. There's no, like, I see 1 million people a day. Probably, like, well, that's an exaggeration. Like, a lot of people a day. So it's not like, unless they're like the city crooks or something like that. Which I doubt they are, because then the police would probably have them, because they'd already be on the police's like radar. Like, these guys, I don't understand the need for that. I mean, did all like policemen have to have mustaches back then? Like, is that what they were trying to do?
I don't know. This seems like they watched some movie. Oh, what's it called? What's that one with Dwayne Johnson and
Jumanji.
Ryan Reynolds?
Oh, Red Note?
Yeah. It sounds like something like that. Like they watched Red Notice and decided to rob a museum.
And-
They was that like, I feel like Night at the Museum is just can't get out of my head. I can just imagine like it was probably dark back then, because they probably didn't want to pay the electric bill when when it was closed.
Like that.
It all kind of makes sense. So there was really no need for a disguise. Like, these guys kind of just overthought everything. Like, what were they gonna do? Like, they get caught. Don't worry, guys. It's not me. It's this guy that rips off the mustache. I'm innocent. Like.
Yeah, that's like.
And I mean, with these, like, with what we're reading here, it doesn't sound like these were top-notch master criminals. These sound like very average criminals and very
Yeah.
average robbers.
I could see like, yeah, that's true. I could see like teens just like doing something like that just for
Yes.
the fun of it, you know. So the shorter man, like I said, thought that Abbas looked familiar and they might have a warrant for his arrest, so demanded that Abbas emerge from behind the desk to provide identification. So Abbas complied, leaving the desk that contained the museum's only panic button. And to alert the police, the shorter man forced Abbas against a wall, spread his legs, and handcuffed him.
Hang on. What? Where'd he get the handcuffs?
He was wearing
Zip
a police
ties?
uniform. I don't know.
Hang on.
Probably had
So
some-
he handcuffed his hands to his legs.
What?
You said he like.
He told him to spread his legs and handcuffed. Yeah, that sounded weird.
It was probably because they didn't want their legs to move around too. Like
Yeah.
I know that when like a lot of times if you do something like if you're tying someone up, the best thing to do once their hands are secure is actually to tie their legs like apart from each other, because then they can't really wiggle it out. So like or like tie them to two things that move. So like maybe two office chairs or something like that, because then they can't really move their legs around without difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but like.
Yeah. So Henstead walked into the room around this time, and the taller thief turned him toward the wall and handcuffed him too. So with both of the guards handcuffed, the thieves realized their true. The thieves revealed their true intentions to rob the museum and asked the guards not to cause any problems. So the thieves were duct taped around the heads and the eyes, wrapped duct tape around the guards. Without asking for directions, they led the guards into the basement where the guards were handcuffed to a steam pipe and a workbench.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thieves examined the guard's wallet and threatened that they know where the guards lived. Threatened that oh, that's creepy. And if they didn't, they would not. And told them if they would not inform the authorities, they would receive a reward in about a year. It took the thieves less than 15 minutes to subdue them and complete around 1:35. So, yeah. So the stealing happened on the Dutch room. So
What's that?
Well,
I bet the Dutch room is a room in the museum. It's like with Dutch, German
Like you mean German? Yeah.
art.
So they had like people with ladderhosens and like
I don't
yodelers,
know.
like
Yeah,
goats.
we do
like
not know, Fran.
Yeah.
cheese.
yeah.
Should go to the museum and check
You know what, Max? You have an article right there. So maybe like
about the
Yeah.
heist.
yeah, maybe see if it goes into more detail. I'm just utterly
says
confused
in the-
right now.
Dutch room on the second floor. So, doesn't say. Maybe. So, yeah. So, so there were paintings in around the Dutch Golden Age. So, yeah, kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Wait, I'm pretty sure the painter had like a German sounding name too.
yeah.
So that's probably where the
Rembrandt
paintings were.
Van Ridge. I don't know. He's really famous, I think.
And
So-
I'm reading here that a sensor sounded that was intended to alarm the patrons when patrons moved too close to artwork, and the thieves smashed the device.
So, the thieves' movement were actually recorded on infrared motion detectors, but obviously they didn't connect to the police.
Yeah.
And steps in the first room they entered, Dutch room, second floor, were not recorded though, until 1:48. So, it's a little weird. This was 13 minutes after they finished subduing.
Oh, 1:48
the guards.
a.m.
Yeah. Perhaps waiting to ensure that the police have not been alerted. kind of a waste of time, don't you think?
Yeah.
You get in, get out. So, thieves smashed the device, removed the storm on the Sea of Galilee. Galilee, yeah.
It's a biblical reference. It's
Yeah, it's when
Galilee,
Jesus walked on the water.
Yeah. All right.
Jesus?
What?
Yeah.
No, Moses.
Jesus.
Jesus. It's
Oh,
Jesus.
oh yeah. I thought you were talking about Moses parting his hair.
What?
Parting.
That was on
the
a
Red
river,
Sea,
though.
sorry,
That's on a river,
sorry.
though. Well, not a river. I don't know.
Okay, so
Alright.
basically, maybe they had like some crazy tie-ins with one of the guards. Like maybe they knew that or maybe they were guards not on their shift. I mean, this is just some crazy conspiracy theory, but like I feel like it's very possible that these guards or the people stealing the paintings knew exactly like what to expect. So maybe I think that's why I think that they were guards that were maybe off shift that decided, you know what, let's go and make a couple $1 million.
So an inside job.
Yeah, well, not necessarily. It's just like technically they didn't have the responsibility of being a guard then if they were off shift, but like because you know that's like showing up to where you work. Like if I worked at Rita's, that's like going and getting Rita's when I wasn't working there. You know, it's like that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lady and gentleman in black from the wall and threw them on the marble floor, shattering their glass frames. So using a blade, they cut the canvases out of their stretchers. Wow.
They damaged them.
Yeah, they cut the painting. So I don't really think they protected it if they're gonna cut
Dude,
it.
Irish people not like Germans? I gotta do some actual research here.
What?
Do Irish people like?
They also removed the large Rembrandt self-portrait oil painting from the wall.
See, this is what doesn't make sense. If they were proud Irish people, it says Ireland and Germany have long enjoyed excellent relations politically, culturally, and economically. So basically, Connie, you could speak to this because I'm not Irish whatsoever, but they basically had no reason if it was like a political thing. Because if they're like,
I don't think it was a political thing.
well, to break maybe like take the, who knows what they did. Well, who knows what they did with them too?
Who
Aren't
knows
they
what
still
the
missing?
motive is? They do. They know what the motive
Yeah.
is.
What?
They know what the motive is.
They want money. What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you want money, Ryan?
Are you sure that
Yes.
they didn't want to like just?
I
have
mean,
nice
probably
art?
they,
So are you
it might have
saying
been
it's
a
like a hate
political
crime?
statement too, you know?
No. I'm saying maybe like if they didn't like Germany, they would go to a famous German painting and just vandalize it. But they did, like the guy that put cake on the Mona Lisa.
That was.
That was from like oil thing, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said something about global warming, but he
was
pleaded insanity too.
Oh.
So
yeah. So you
that's
don't
the
wanna go to
easiest
jail.
way to not
Yeah.
go to jail though. I
Yeah.
mean, you still go to like a
Asylum,
rehab center
yeah.
and there's asylum and stuff, but like
All right. So. So they actually got a self-portrait painting, but left it leaning against the cabinet. And the investigators believe the thieves thought it might have been too large to transport because it was painted on wood, not canvas.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
or too heavy. They only had two
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
Or a guy and a girl.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, no, it seems like two men. Never mind. Anyway.
No, it said a guy and a girl, a man and a woman. So, basically, it's still unsolved to this day. The paintings haven't been found, and there haven't been many leads, if any. And in the end, not much of it actually makes sense. It's a very type of like a guess and go type of crime. So, I think that we've overthought this way too much, and we
Yeah.
need some time to. All of us need time to mentally process this. So I think this might be a good place to end.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
on that end note of like it's still unsolved today. Like
Yeah.
unlike
Yeah.
most crimes. I mean,
We're probably gonna come back to it next Friday. Come back with a little part 2.
Yeah.
Or maybe a different crime that's equally or that's weirder. Or who really knows? This goes everywhere. I've gone from talking about life experiences to
if you
to
have
paintings
any, requests or any ideas, you could send them to our boy Ryan right here, Snapchat master. You know,
or you can comment on the YouTube.
And also, I highly recommend following, adding, and subscribing all of St. Joseph's Prep's accounts. So their sports, their WSJP broadcasting. This is what it is run through. That does sports and media coverage, as well as digital design. So that's what most of the online stuff that you see for the Prep is through. And with that, we are going to close out the podcast.
Come back next Friday.
Yep,
check in on YouTube.
Check notifications on YouTube. Subscribe.
Turn that notification bell on.
Bro, be quiet now. All right.
And we will hope to see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Shut up, Ryan.